Heyo, welcome everyone to episode 28 of Today in the Scene. I'm Joe with Indie Arcade Wave, and this is my co-host Dylan from Galactic Battleground.
Hello.
So this week we're going to dive into another game by some people you guys have already heard from. These are the guys over at Videogamo, Maximo and Hernan. They're working on another game, which actually I believe came first, called Dobotone. So this is a multiplayer game. I'll let them go into a little more depth with it, but this is another one that you definitely need to check out. So, Maximo, Hernan, how are you guys doing today?
Hey, how
Hi.
are you?
Hey guys.
I'll just let you guys jump right in and introduce yourselves again. Tell everybody a little bit about yourselves for anyone that didn't see the last episode.
Okay, I'm Hernan Saez. I'm part of Videogamo. It's an independent studio that started in 2010, and we're from Buenos Aires, the capital city of Argentina, and we're specialized on dedicated hardware games. So I'm game designer and artist.
Yeah, I'm Maximo, and I'm mostly uh, in charge of engineering and but also some game design. I studied system engineer on the university, but and that I didn't finish the whole career, and then started um, going to video games and in starting to getting interest into that, and I love it, and that's what I'm doing now.
Awesome, awesome. So, what did you guys and how did you guys come up with Dobotone?
Um, I think it started with it was we were finishing building NAVE, and I had to go to buy some extra buttons for the NAVE arcade. And when I went to the shop or whatever, I was going back home, and I got two buttons on my hand, one on each hand, and I was like playing with them with the just grabbing them on my way home, and I really like the feeling, the sensation of playing with the buttons in my hand, and that was the like the spark, the little spark that uh, started the bottom. Like I felt like, okay, it would be cool to make the player to have a controller in your hand, a button, a simple button in your hand, and play simple games with just two inputs. Um, and I thought, yes, about like small mini games that don't need a lot of complexity, but are fun to play. Uh, yeah, that was the real real beginning. It was just really different from what it is now, except for the controllers. I think that's the beginning. And then I think in uh, 2015 or 9, we
Yeah,
went.
there was a possibility of making a new arcade machine for an event. And so the only idea we had was this two button thing that in the beginning was just to be like homemade controllers for us and our friends and make games in the computer, but nothing like formal or official. And so we started build this arcade that we wanted to make like a four-player arcade with a big screen, and uh, but the screen was so expensive that we didn't have a screen. So we said, okay, see, if we don't have a screen, this could be a console. So Doton is basically a console with a lot of built-in small uh, mini games, party games, and the basic concept is that you can choose the games like TV channel, like changing channels. You change the channel, you play the game. There's no even an intro. You're just in the game, and that's the project. It's like an hybrid of a home console and an arcade. We call it like a party console or an arcade console. So that's the basics of Double Tone. And in 2015, we made a prototype that looks like almost like the finished product, but it was all made in cardboard, but you couldn't tell. Uh, and people liked it, so we built we we showed it in a few places in Argentina, and then in GDC, I'll control GDC. Uh, that part of the GDC where there are experimental controllers. You can, I don't know, play a game using a banana or whatever. And after that, we just built like a party resistant version of the console, and from there it took off, and we traveled all around the world and stuff. So
Yeah,
that's
the one that we took to GDC was this cardboard version that was really delicate. Delicate. It was like all wires. The idea was to build the cardboard console like big enough to fit our laptop inside, so we can hide the computer. It was just a computer, but with a cardboard console at the side. But we decided to make it big enough so we can put it, hide it inside, and it was and it worked. It was really I don't know how to say it, but we have to be we've been fixing during GDC the whole time. We would have to be fixing wires and whatever, because it was a really rough prototype inside, especially the electronics part. But yes, it was really fun to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean that's how prototypes go. You kind of just throw everything together, see what works, see what doesn't work, and then you'll fix the stuff that needs to be fixed. You guys talking about that actually got me really intrigued, kind of as to how you built this console, because we look at new modern consoles and they're so complex. There's so much going on. What did you guys use to make your controllers as well as to make the console itself? Like, did you build a little motherboard kind of thing on the inside, or what did you do?
Yeah, the first version we took to the prototype we took to GDC was I think it started a little bit earlier with that idea of playing with just the two controllers and two buttons for player. What I did was like doing a small PCB to function as a keyboard, and the original idea was to have the possibility to connect like 8 players or 16 players, whatever. I didn't know, it was like a fantasy. So, but we started with this small, like a keyboard controller developed by us, so we can just plug. It had like a microphone, like a jack input, where we connect each of the two buttons, and that was the first version, and the rest of the machine was the laptop hidden inside. But after that, there's still a computer that handles obviously it's a Unity game mainly. So there's the computer, a small Intel NUC in the current versions that runs the game, and then we did a couple of boards for handling all the knobs and the controls for changing channels. And Dobotone has 4 screens for the player. They're just 2 screens divided, but each screen for each player, where it's we can show the score, the current score. And so yeah, we had to design some PCBs to control those screens and the input of the console of the knobs. We did it with parallax propeller board as a main brain. Is like a kind of like an Arduino, but with a like multi-core. And we used that because I have already used it in another project, so it was something I was familiar with, and I like it to use it for the screens, especially to handle the displays of the score on the screens and communicate with the computer.
Yeah, just to describe it a little more, how the console is. Uh, you can look at pictures and you'll understand better. But besides the four controllers of with two buttons, two arcade buttons each, there are knobs on the console itself that are for tweaking like speed and gravity, and to changing the size of the of the screen and the scene, and also like one from for tweaking like the image and making some kind of glitch, so you can bother the other players, because besides the four players that are playing, there can be like a fifth player that it's like the game master. So these screens that Maximo is talking about are like small displays that are on the console itself, that only shows the score. So that's the most complex part of the machine, that now has a computer inside, that it's right now it's a nuke, but we're aiming to use a nudu, uh, and then like proprietary boards that are for these controllers and other buttons, because each player can turn like jump in and out, like just by pressing a button, because we wanted to reinforce this party concept, that when you're at a party, if you have to go to the bathroom, you can like turn your player like immediately off, and then maybe someone else joins in, and there's no time to explain how to play, or you don't have to wait till your player is on. So there's also these buttons that turn players on and off, and support this immediacy that we wanted to achieve with this console. So that's those are the basics and the components.
Gotcha. So, besides what's under the hood of the whole console, how do you play Dobotone, and how many mini games do you have in it?
Um, right now we have 10 mini games. We are aiming to have like around 30 as a minimum. But we stopped making games because we wanted to finish the hardware that is not finished yet. We're still in the final phases of prototyping before building some of them. So all the games are played with these two buttons. So the thing that changes is that what you do with this controller. So for example, the first game is like a kind of a karate game. So with the buttons, you jump to the side, and at the same time you kick, and the same with the other button. So you jump and kick to the left, and jump and kick to the right. If you press both at the same time, you jump and you can kick from air. That's one. But then there's another one that it's like jetpack game, where you have to put your your avatar inside a place and to gain points. So you control each rocket of the jetpack with each button. So there's physics, so the playability changes a lot. Then there's another one that it's races, and you go left and right with each button. So um, and that's when what you play, like in the basics of how to win a game. And then with the knobs, that really changes play, because it's not the same to fight with other three players in a small place, that to make it bigger and everyone gets smaller, and there's a lot of pace, and then like lowering the gravity, so every time you jump and kick, you go like higher. So uh, the games, besides like the four players that make it like different every time, there's these knobs that make the games even more different, and never like a game is uh, 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 like the other. So those are the basics of each game. So, and we also use this to experiment and have like weird ideas. For example, there's one, then there's you have a container up, and then down you have a toilet. So you can, with one button, you can lower the cover of the toilet, and with the other button, you can release the container. And there are some skeletons that fall from the air to your to your bowl, and the one that gets the more skeletons and the faster is the winner. So it's a great to experiment with lots of limitations.
Yeah, it sounds like it's pretty fun. I mean, you have a just basically this new console in front of a whole bunch of people at a bar, and they can just try out all these little games. It sounds like, I mean, it's kind of the perfect beta testing area for a developer, and I'm sure that went just as well at conventions and events. So I was kind of leading into what I wanted to ask was, where else have you taken this game other than GDC? Have you guys taken it international with you anywhere? And other than that, what arcades can you play it in right now?
So besides GDC, we've taken it to that same year in September. We took it to the Tokyo Game Show. It was selected for the indie area, and specifically to the Sense of Wonder Night event that takes place in Tokyo Game Show every year. And it's an event where they choose like 10 games from the world that have this wow factor, or this sense of wonder that they say. So we took it there, and it won a prize like best experimental game. Then we took it also to Canada. Uh, the Toronto International Film Festival has a section for interactive stuff for kids, so we took it there. We also took it to the London Game Show. We also made with the friends and colleagues from the All Control community. We built a party that it's the All Control party. So we had two of those parties in San Francisco and one in London as well. And what else? And then it's like one of the games in Wonderville in New York. So they have the only copy that no, there are two copies. One is for that has Twitch. They bought one Dobotone, one prototype for TwitchCon in 2017, I think, and then they kept the console, and the other one is the DBA one, the Wonderville one. So, but we haven't sell it yet because we're still trying to finish it. So those are the places where you could play it. And then here in Argentina, like all the arcade scene community with NAVE and other games, we've been like showing it off like in a lot of events and parties and bars and stuff. Right now we're in our way to build it to sell it. And trying to find a new market, because it's not an arcade, and it's not because it's not coin op, and it isn't also like a console because it's not made for home use. So it would be this console for commercial use, for not only for bars and arcades, but also for hostels and hotels and working places, and that's where we are right now.
That's great to hear, and hearing that like Twitch played it and all these other places have it, like Wonderville and Twitch. When you brought this game to all these conventions, and you watched people play these games, what was the most played mini game, and what do you think is the funnest mini game in Dobotone?
Well, about the most played is difficult to know, because you have two modes, right? There's a random button, and when you play you push the random button, you change from game to game. So it's like a mix of games. And if you turn it on, if you turn it off, you stay on the game that you're playing, and then you can change it manually. So, but there are a few games that are surprisingly like funny. With Nave, we always say that Nave is like a drama, and Dobotone is like a comedy, and based on how the players react. But I think like the toilet one, it's fun, and the jetpack one also, because people enjoy like falling, and you can hit your opponents also, and it's fun like the mess that happens, because you also like when you can explode with the jetpack, and all your parts like are like spread through the uh, whole place. So that makes like it's kind of a messy game. It's like um and people have fun with the unexpected things that happen, and with this DJ part that surprises everyone. And also it's also another thing that surprised us is like there's the action players that prefer to use the two buttons, but then there's like the more like game master quiet players that prefer to tweak the game, maybe to make it easier to help the players, or maybe to troll them and make it hard. So uh, that's a little bit of how people react to the console and the games. And also they're so easy to understand because the console is black, but then each controller and each part of the console has a different color. So, and the players on the screen, because the game has only 6 colors, like the black and white, and then there's orange, yellow, light blue, and magenta. And so everything is designed to find out really fast who you are and what to do, because there are not many options with only 2 buttons. So um, that brings a lot of unexpected situations.
Yeah, I mean, after talking to you guys about multiple games, you do really think a lot about the user interface and how the individual is going to be playing the game and how to make it as streamlined as possible. Um, I like the colors. The controller for this is super cool, and all those different mini games is just such a fun way to enjoy playing with everybody. Um, we already talked about Videogamo and what you guys have done, some of the projects you've worked on in the past podcast, but I want to know what you guys are currently working on other than Dobotone.
Uh, well, right now we're working with a system for Nave to be played remotely, because Nave, you know that it's an arcade that we finished building in 2012 and released it that same year. Um, and the game can only be played on its arcade, and there's only one arcade, and you cannot download it or buy it or nothing like that. So without and with the pandemic situation and stuff, we were invited to show Nave, at least through a camera, and explain how it works to Amaze, that it's a festival, video game festival in Berlin. And we thought that it would be cool if people could play the game, but without breaking the rules of downloading it or buying it. So what we built is a system that it's called Robota, that or Robot A from arcade, that you put the hardware on the controller, on the stick and the button, and then and also a camera, and anyone from any other part of the world can look through the camera and control the arcade itself with a keyboard or with a joystick or whatever the device you have. So we stopped a little bit working on Dobotone because of the situation. There's also harder to sell it, and so we said, okay, let's focus on this. And and now we're experimenting with that, because it's a whole new world, because also you have to set your mind to it, because at first you think it's like, okay, online game, and then you realize that you cannot, that no one else in the world is playing it, and at the same time you can see the stick moving and the button firing through the camera. So it's like a weird thing that we from now on we're taking it as a different mode of playing Nave. That it doesn't have anything to do with going to the arcade and being there. There's no comparison, but brings other possibilities um, to the players to have a different experience, because it's also very enjoyable to use, because it's very enjoyable, and we find it this out like while making it, to press something on your keyboard on or in your button of your gamepad, and from the other side you see it moving in the screen. And we also, you were talking about the user interface, and we, our basics for design is that user has to whatever the game is, user has to enjoy using it before even playing it. Like, you have to enjoy moving the stick, you have to enjoy pressing the button or moving a wheel or whatever. So that's that was what we were been focusing about, and that's really an arcade thing. It's like very arcaded, like arcadey, focusing on the feeling of using the actual hardware. So that's our main project now. That it's called Nave Remoto. That it's remote in Spanish.
Yeah, and we, because of this robot we made for Amaze, we managed to organize our Nave Arcade yearly world tournament remotely this year, because of obviously of the situation. We couldn't do the normal tournament we do every year, so we made this weekend. On Saturday was the eighth World Arcade World Tournament, and we managed to do it because of this Robota thing we did. It was obviously a different experience, but it was fun, and I think people enjoyed it. And it would a fan from Japan was able to play for the first time this year. Also, obviously, a different experience than being in front of the arcade. But yes, we had a Japanese fan that is doing our translation for us, because he really enjoys the game. So we make a couple of translations of some advertising or whatever, and this year, because of the robot, he managed to play the game. It was awesome.
I love that. Yeah, that's so cool that he's able to play all the way from Japan. And I mean, that now means I can try it, because you don't have one in America. So
Obviously.
I'm really glad that I'll be able to give it a go. I'm gonna wrap everything up here, and I just want you guys to shout out any social medias that you have for Dobotone, or Nave, or Videogamo, whatever. Feel free to shout it all out, but let everybody know where they can find you guys.
Yeah, mainly you can find us on Instagram. It's at Videogamo, like video game, but with an O at the end, .inc. And then you can find us on Twitter at Videogamo. You can also, if you use Facebook, there's a Dobotone page and the Nave arcade page. And that's basically it. And we also want to shout out to Paloma, that it's third member of Videogamo, and she's always helping us and working with us. So and actually Paloma is like right now has the Nave arcade high score. So shout out to her.
Yeah, she I think I mentioned it on the last podcast, but she's my sister, and she's the first employee of Videogamo, and she's also like a real fan of Nave. It was a fan of NAVE before, not before being my sister, but yeah, she has a tattoo of the game. She's one of the NAVE fans that have had a tattoo on her. So yes, she really likes NAVE.
That's awesome that she's such a big fan of that, and I love the shout outs. I'm going to put all that stuff in the description so you guys can follow up with that and check out the social medias for all these. It was really great talking to you guys again. I love talking about Dobotone and everything you guys are doing down in South America. I can't wait to check these out once everything calms down again. I would love to play Dobotone. Until next time, thanks for listening. Peace.